Those who make peaceful change impossible make violent ones inevitable. You may have all the guns, but there's a stage that these will get to. Your guns will not matter. They won't matter. Stop asking for the sack of the DSS DG. Stop asking for it. Because it's not the DSS DG you should worry about. If you look at the act establishing the DSS, which is actually the National Security Agencies Act, you'll see that the DSS, alongside the NIA and the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agencies and National Intelligence Agency, they answer directly to the President of Nigeria. Directly at the instruction of the President. Some may act at the directive of the Chief of Defense Staff, but you see the DSS, they answer directly to the President. So all this shouting that is going on about, oh, remove the DSS is above the law. Well, while I don't agree with the actions of the DSS, with the way it is portrayed in court, particularly on this Emefiele case, and not necessarily just on the Emefiele case. We've had this kind of action go on concerning Nnamdi Kanu, concerning El Zakzaky, go on concerning Namadi Sambu. You have all these people who have met similar treatment at the hands of the DSS in this kind of manner. While I don't agree with the approach of the DSS, I don't think that it is the DSS that should be queried in this particular situation. Because with the DSS or the SSS, the buck stops at the desk of the President. All that happened in court yesterday cannot have happened without the say-so of the Commander-in-Chief and the President of Nigeria, who happens to be Bola Tinubu at the moment. So, instead of calling for the sack of the DSS DG, direct your attention to Tinubu, because he is the one that you should be concerned about. You remember all the talk about anarchy? That's the final written address of Tinubu and the APC contained in that subtle, thinly veiled threat to the tribunal. I think that's what's playing out. Because if you look at the whole mode of operation, you'll see that several things are happening in different directions, all at once. And they are all geared or directed towards warning you not to try anything. Look at Asari Dokubo on his own. On a normal day, Asari Dokubo would have been arrested. In fact, if you look at the operations of IPOB, and I'm not speaking for IPOB, I personally don't agree with many of the actions of the IPOB. Yes, they have a right to self-determination, but for me, that's my own opinion now. Their modus operandi, which includes violence, is not acceptable to me. The curse may be a worthy cause, but the approach, the methods, may not be right. The IPOB did not do up to half of what Asari Dokubo is doing today before the Nigerian military, the DSS, the Nigerian police went for him. What Asari Dokubo is doing today, he cannot say, and nobody can come out and tell Nigerians that the President of Nigeria is not aware of it. All of this is a show of force, telling you not to do anyhow. That if you do anyhow, you see anyhow. It's all an indication that don't think that there's going to be any kind of rule of law. In fact, get ready for the rule of force. It's a blatant disregard for the rule of law, and one message is passed across. What are you going to do? What can you do? What can you do? Look at what Asari Dokubo is doing and what the DSS has done. The way the DSS even paraded themselves shows you can hold the impunity with your hand if you wanted to grab impunity yesterday at the courtroom or at the court premises. You can hold impunity like this. A very robust, well-fed impunity, very healthy impunity. You can hold it. The way they behaved, coupled with the fact or the way Asari Dokubo is behaving, it is impunity. It is a sign of the rule of force. It's a sign of, we have done it. What can you do? So we have to choose either to continue this silence that is being misconstrued as singing Kumbaya and having the back or singing the praise or supporting the policies of Tinubu, or we speak against it in the shared interest of Nigeria. What I want the DSS and Asari Dokubo to realize is that we are still one people. We are one people. I see the hand of the IMF and the World Bank all around this. Don't let the IMF and the World Bank use you to lead Nigeria astray. They benefit when we fight each other. It will be easy for me to come out and begin to cast aspersion, and begin to abuse and shout and scream. But I won't do that, because in doing that, I am just playing into the hands of the IMF and the World Bank and the World Trade Organizations. I see their hand all above, all around, all across this rule of force that is staring us in the face. I see their hand. So what I want to appeal to the DSS and Asari Dokubo is this. Let us think in the interest of Nigeria. Because all these threats, these thinly veiled threats of the rule of force, it's not going to augur well for Nigeria. It's not. You see the number of soldiers of Asari Dokubo, maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000, maximum. You put the whole DSS together, maybe 10,000, maximum. Those are 20,000 people. Forget all the guns. When push comes to shove and the people feel so threatened that they have been pushed to the wall and they don't have alternative, they will react. And my fear is this: when they react, it is Nigeria that we boil or burn, and it is not to our favor that this happens. The IMF and the World Bank that I suspect are pushing you guys to do these things will not allow these kind of things to happen in their country. So I beg you, Asari Dokubo, I beg you, DSS, in fact, no, I beg you, Tinubu, don't let Nigeria descend into anarchy. Don't. Let the rule of law prevail. These people don't want the interest of Nigeria. They don't want it. They know that if Nigeria does well, then they are at risk. It is world domination by an elite group in the West. Not even just the whole West. Not even the whole West. It's an elite group within the West. An elite group within America that is so hell-bent on world governance, world domination, that is bent on dissolving the sovereignties of countries using the tool of privatization and colonial virus disease. Don't let these people get us. Don't. They have gotten us. They have this, their well thought out plan that they have executed and they have come to perfect. Don't let them continue to use it against us. I appeal to you. What happened yesterday at the court was a show of shame. Yes, you may have the power to do it. What Asari Dokubo is doing, that the DSS have not gone after them when Nnamdi Kanu did less than half, and he's being chased around. Those do not mean well for Nigeria. I am concerned that it may lead Nigeria in the path of anarchy. And when anarchy comes, think about innocent Nigerians. I beg you. Money is not your problem. I can tell. I don't think money is the problem of Tinubu. He was already a billionaire in dollars before he became president. Money is not the problem of Asari Dokubo or with the oil pipeline and whatever he's making before. So he has enough to do well. He has enough to do well. So think in the interest of Nigeria. Asari Dokubo, think in the interest of Nigeria. In fact, think in the interest of the Niger Delta. You have these boys. What is the quality of their lives? What is the quality of life in the Niger Delta? You have these boys. Why have you not ensured that the refineries in the Niger Delta are working? That is the part to direct your force, to direct your influence, Asari Dokubo. I beg you, when you use that influence that you have and these boys that you are showing us that you can use to defend Tinubu, use these boys first to defend the Niger Delta. And when I say defend the Niger Delta, I'm not talking about force or blowing up pipelines, because those also do not in turn help the Niger Delta. What will help the Niger Delta is use this your influence to ensure that the refineries in the Niger Delta are working, and that individuals have license to run modular refineries from the Niger Delta. Because if you look at the list of people who have licenses to run the Niger Delta, it's the likes of them Dangote and them Otedola, not even from the Niger Delta. So if you are really having the interest of the Niger Delta at heart, what you should be using your influence and your force and your men for should not be fighting and repressing the people. It should be to develop the Niger Delta. You have been in power now since 1999, even before that. What has your power, what development has it brought to the Niger Delta? What industries have sprung up because of you? What manufacturing hubs have sprung up because of you? How many jobs are being created because of you? I'm not talking about the people, 1,000 or so people that you employed in the name of making them your boys. No. What manufacturing hubs? Are we manufacturing phones now in the Niger Delta? Are we manufacturing cars now in the Niger Delta? Are we manufacturing anything in the Niger Delta? That is what you should direct your influence and your power and your attention to. Not into causes that will just serve Nigeria into the hands of the IMF and the World Bank, because that is what they know how to do best. Divide and conquer. Don't let us begin to fight against ourselves. Tinubu, Asari Dokubo, because the DSS can do nothing except the president say so. Asari Dokubo cannot be doing this he's doing without the buy-in of Tinubu. We all saw what happened in the days of Buhari when he was after Asari Dokubo. And we understand that it was even this same Nnamdi Kanu that hid you, Asari Dokubo. So that shows and proves clearly to all of us that truly you cannot be doing what you're doing without the buy-in of Tinubu. And same goes for the DSS. So those shouting and calling, shouting at Tinubu, at Asari Dokubo or the DSS, you're wasting your energy. You are directing them to the wrong person. The person you should be directing that energy to is Bola Tinubu. He is the Commander-in-Chief of Nigeria's Armed Forces and the President of Nigeria. As we speak, the buck stops at his table. I appeal to you, don't be silent. This is a big warning sign that the rest of us Nigerians, you see, today, You may be on the good side of this rule of force, this impunity. But before long, you'll be on the opposite side if you let it slide. This is how the rule of impunity reigned in the days of Emefiele. And it was to his benefit. That is how it was to the benefit of many of the big politicians. It was to the benefit of Amechi. It was to the benefit of many of them. Smart Adeyemi was to the benefit of them. But before long, things changed. Now they are at the receiving end of the impunity. Please, don't be silent at this moment. Nigeria needs all of us to rise up and speak against this impunity. Let them know that this is not what Nigeria needs. And appeal to them to shun the advice and the proddings of the IMF and the World Bank. Stop letting the IMF and the World Bank divide us. We need to work together. See, we are not producing anything because that's what the IMF wants. The guns and the ammunitions, the weapons that you are going to use for your rule of force, you're not manufacturing them. You're going to buy them. And when you buy them, you're playing into the hands of the IMF and the World Bank. So they are going to sell you guns to divide and conquer you and your people. Think about it. Let's put Nigeria first. We can defeat these external aggressors only if we work together. With our unity, by exposing their modus operandi. This is how they thrive. They first of all use war and insecurity and chaos to weaken you. Meanwhile, they benefit from it because they are the ones that will sell you the weapons. Then they will now come in after they have destroyed you with war and chaos and insecurity and swoop in the name of privatization and foreign direct investment to tell you they want to help you rebuild. And then what happens afterwards? They take over your country. That is how they took over Europe. Please, Tinubu, please, Asari Dokubo, please, I beg you. I don't have a business with DSS because one call from the president, the DSS will fall in line. One call from the president, Asari Dokubo will fall in line. So I appeal to you. This show of shame, Nigeria doesn't need it. And you do not need the rule of force. Let's respect the rule of law in the interest of Nigeria. Stop threatening the judges. Let the tribunal breathe. Let the tribunal breathe. These are all thinly veiled things to also unduly influence the tribunal. Because the tribunal, seeing all of these, sends a very wrong signal. It's like an intimidation attempt to the tribunal that if you do anyhow, you will see anyhow. Because why would this kind of show of shame happen in the premises of the Federal High Court? Why? Is it to threaten the judges? Why will Asari Dokubo be having a free reign? Is it to threaten the judges? Let the judiciary breathe. Let the tribunal breathe. Let Nigerians breathe. Let justice be served and let the rule of law, let it prevail. The doctrine of separation of powers, let it prevail. The doctrine of checks and balances, let it prevail. Let the core of democracy, let it prevail. I beg you. We don't have the weapons to fight you. We can only appeal. But remember, those who make peaceful change inevitable, make violent ones. Those who make peaceful change impossible, make violent ones inevitable. You may have all the guns, but there's a stage that this will get to. Your guns will not matter. They won't matter. Because when the people fear for their lives, they will react. Don't let us get to that bridge. Because at the end of the day, it serves the interest of the IMF and the World Bank. Don't descend or slide Nigeria into anarchy. I am begging you. I am begging you.